I believe, guys, we have a landfall. Okay, so this is breaking. We have landfall now at Gulf Shores as of about 5 o'clock this morning, and so it is now making landfall at Gulf Shores with maximum winds of 105 miles per hour and a minimum central pressure right now. It looks like here about 965 millibars. So all of our information is correct. So we have landfall now. So at 5 a.m. Central Time, Hurricane Sally has now come ashore at Gulf Shores, Alabama, with maximum sustained winds of 105 miles per hour and a minimum central pressure of 965. So this will not go down as a major hurricane landfall, but regardless, a highly impactful event. Again, making landfall. Go back the same day in 2004 when we had Hurricane Ivan make landfall on this part of the Gulf Coast. So again, this one will go down and be, again, a new benchmark storm in terms of rainfall potential from these systems. So again, Sally has officially made landfall now at 5 a.m. in Gulf Shores, Alabama, with maximum winds of 105 miles per hour. As I've been mentioning, we are still not done with this. Of course, now you get to landfall. This eye wall is still packing a punch over Fairhope and Loxley, and points now closing in on the I-10 corridor. So Robertsdale, Elsinore, Summerdale, Fairhope, Daphne. I know most of you folks are likely without power here, but if you're able to watch us on your mobile device or on WKRG.com and streaming our live stream now, just know you're still in it here, and you're going to be in it probably for the next hour or two as the system continues to move to the north. And it looks like near Pensacola as well, this intense rain band continues to roll through. I don't want to discount here the folks there in Okaloosa County. You are also under that flash flood emergency at this point. And this is going to be an issue here for the next couple of hours, because it's going to take a while, I'll tell you this, for all of this water to finally ease its way out of this region. So expect heavy downpours to still be fairly prolific over the next few hours as the storm continues to still just inch its way northward at around 2 miles per hour. So this is now the 4 a.m. advisory that's out from the Hurricane Center. It's picked up 1 mile per hour speed. So now it's moving north-northeast at 3 miles per hour. I guess it's better than 2. 105 mile per hour winds at landfall. There's your minimum pressure again at 965 millibars. So the trend will continue to be off to the north and east. And now we get a new forecast track now that the system has in fact made landfall. This will continue to move its way eventually through Baldwin County, southern Baldwin County, and into Escambia County, Florida. You're going to be seeing major impacts here in terms of storm surge now into the Pensacola Bay, and that will come especially during the time of high tide, which I will show you your times so you'll know exactly when you can expect the highest water rise. So notice the timing still. As we move into this evening, we're still talking about a strong tropical storm in our area. I don't believe this exits our viewing area until we get to around 7, maybe 8 o'clock this evening. So it's going to be another full day of rain, wind, heavy and storm surge along the coast here. So this is the long-term forecast track. Again, it'll weaken as it moves through Georgia and then into the Carolinas. But again, right now still maintaining its Category 2 intensity. And it will still take another couple of hours before we finally downgrade this system to a tropical storm. Look at these wind gusts. This is something we've been monitoring all day long as the center now is coming ashore. Check out Dauphin Island. The latest gust, 109 miles per hour. That is Category 2 intensity with the storm. Actually, in fact, that's the gust. So, and again, there's sustained winds of 105 and 109 is your gust, 106 at Fort Morgan. And Orange Beach, disregard that. We're having a lot of problems there with the instrumentation, but if you see that sort of purple splotch that's developed, those are winds in excess of 90 miles per hour at the very least in terms of wind gusts. Looks like now we're having some instrumentation problems at NAS Pensacola, still getting 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts in Mobile County. So again, the wind field still is very, very large with this system. These tropical storm force gusts are not only going to be confined to the coast. I want to give you a heads up to anyone who's along the I-65 corridor in Escambia County, also through portions of Conecuh and even into Monroe County. You'll still be seeing tropical storm force wind gusts as the circulation of Sally continues to move inland. Let's talk tides. Timing is going to become pretty crucial as we move through the day. There will be high tide cycles that start up right around 10 o'clock this morning. First in Pascagoula, we're not as concerned now about significant storm surge in Mississippi. There will still be water rise in Mobile Bay. You'll have a little bit more of a northerly flow, but there is just a large pile of water piled up here. So maybe around 4 feet into Mobile Bay, which is not nearly as bad as this was looking even just 24 hours ago. But Pensacola Bay, we're thinking storm surge, I believe, will now exceed, could potentially exceed 6 feet, maybe closer to 7, 8 feet based off of what we're seeing and observing now and based off of model projections closer to home. And that high tide is going to come just after 11 a.m. this morning. Also over towards Choctawhatchee Bay, your high tide is going to come sometime after noon today. So just know you'll likely still see some water rise as well. Maybe certainly not as much as Pensacola Bay, but you're certainly going to be seeing that storm surge threat as well, perhaps in the 4 to 5 foot range later on this evening. And then as we move into the evening, we will start to transition back into low tide cycles, and that will allow all the water, the salt water, to move out. So here is our latest projections for storm surge. Even our in-house model is starting to drop the storm surge amounts here, 1 to 3 feet there into Mobile Bay. But again, I'm really getting a bit more concerned about these amounts. When we start seeing oranges pop up here in our storm surge potential, we're looking at 6 to 9 feet, and that could certainly be piling up there. Widespread 3 to 6 feet in the bays itself, and then just offshore as well, 3 to 6 feet. I think this might be undercutting it a little bit in Okaloosa County. I think maybe we're thinking more in the 3 to 5 foot range as well, just considering the amount of water and what we're observing along the coast so far this morning. So a lot to unpack here with the system. Even though the system has now made landfall, Sally has come ashore, we're not done with this by any means. We're still going to be another 12, maybe 13 hours of this before we're finally saying goodbye to Sally altogether. Still, we have flash flood emergencies that are ongoing across southern Baldwin, southern Escambia County, now also into Santa Rosa and Okaloosa County. Again, that kind of wording you don't see too often from the Weather Service when they talk about particularly dangerous situation, life-threatening flooding underway, urging folks to seek higher ground. But notice these flood warnings are continuing to expand inland. Now all of Baldwin County, most of the southern half of Mobile County, and then the northern half of all of our northwest Florida counties, and now another flash flood warning in effect for Escambia County, Alabama, all of Conecuh County, portions of Monroe County as well, and that will be with us as we go through likely here the next 7 to 8 hours, as most of these rain bands will continue to move inland as Sally continues to travel off to the north as well. Again, those rainfall totals, very, very impressive. Again, you're looking at 20 inches here in these last 2 days as estimated there for Gulf Shores, 17 inches of rain in Foley. I do believe here, based off of the current rainfall trends, that we will likely see some portions of Baldwin County, perhaps even into Escambia County, that will have exceeded maybe 25 inches of rain out of this. I think the overall we were expecting this kind of historical historic flooding event, and by that we don't necessarily mean the biggest flood this area has had, but it would likely rate in sort of the top 5 or top 10 flood events certainly from a tropical system. And we're now starting to see that area of pink start to move inland as well. That's the 6-inch threshold, and so that's now beginning to move into northern Escambia, northern Santa Rosa County, northern Okaloosa County has now moved north of I-10. So we're going to kind of follow that pink shaded area to the north as Sally continues to move to the north as well. This is a view from our studios. We've been seeing power flashes from this camera all night long, all morning long, now at 5:06 in the morning, part of our Alpha Insurance camera network. Still steady rain, and we're still getting wind gusts well over 60 miles per hour. We're still seeing sustained winds in that 30 to 40 mile per hour range, gusting over 60, closing in on 70 in some locations. So the wind field with Sally has expanded significantly throughout the evening. There's the view in Atmore, showers and rain coming down there. The winds are starting to pick up as well at the Wind Creek Casino and Hotel this morning. And again, big view of the rain. I know our northern counties, You haven't seen too much from this. It may have been a bit of a breezy day yesterday and a breezy morning so far. I do believe you'll start to see these totals in Monroe and Conecuh and Escambia counties start to rack up here. I do think some of you will certainly get into the 10 to 15 inch range as all of the rain on the eastern side of Sally moves north. So Bay Minette, Bruton, Atmore, over towards Jay, towards Castleberry and Evergreen. All of you prepare for the very wet afternoon and the possibility of more of those flash flood warnings being issued farther and farther north. I don't think we're done with that by any means. The good news is once the center of Sally begins to move off north of I-10, on the back side of this, we're going to start to get on the drier side of this hurricane. And so it does look like by the time we move into the middle of the day Wednesday, around noon, models have actually been painting out some weakening trend and at least a lessening in the overall rainfall totals here as we move later in time. But again, we've been showing you this here all day yesterday and all morning here. I think these totals here are going to verify, no doubt about it. In fact, they're already verifying with 15 to 20 inches of rain. Again, I think there will be a bullseye there in Baldwin County that records 20 to 25, maybe 20 to 30 inches of rain based off of what we have already observed. Again, expecting that 10 to 15 inch threshold for rain to start moving up I-65 as we move through time. West of 65, we have 6 to 10 inches here across Clark and Monroe counties. That's certainly reasonable considering what we've already had. But our Mississippi counties, really, I don't think you're going to see too much more out of this. You'll get some more rain. It'll be a bit breezy, but any kind of significant effects from this, it's really looks like all of this is going to stay well to your east there across Alabama and also into Florida as well. So there's looking at your current wind speeds. Sustained, there you go, 45-mile-per-hour winds sustained at Mobile Regional Airport, and you're seeing those sustained winds around 20 as you head north and as we continue to move towards 65 here. So bottom line, Bill and Jessica, this is going to be an event that a lot of folks will remember for the rain, and that's what we were kind of advertising for the last couple days, that this was always going to be mainly about the water. But of course, there's a bit of, as good as our forecasting is, there's always a little bit of unpredictability, and to see this thing organize as quickly as it did is really quite impressive. This is reached Category 2 strength. Actually had a little bit of less wind shear, and that's what allowed this thing to really start to ramp up. So we expect this will start weakening now that it is moving inland, but expect tropical storm force winds, I would say, all the way up 65, all the way through the middle of the day and into the afternoon hours as well.